Ba-dum-bum-bum. What an awesome theme song. So I don't know if you guys read it yet. I'll link it in the description, but I thought it was pretty interesting and kind of wanted to talk about it. But Stone Cold went out and in an interview pretty much went out and said that it might have been on the Steve Austin podcast. I don't remember, but he basically said, and he's been very verbal about this before, but he really clarified his opinion on this, and I agree with him 100%. And that is that he pretty much went out and said that the tag team championships look like two pennies, I believe, that got run over and were slapped on leather belts. And he also went on to say that he thinks it looks awful because gold means champion. He's like, they can get away with the championship silver, but bronze, copper, come on, man. Those are the words of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Curious to know what you guys think, so leave your opinions down in the comments. I'll link that article of Austin saying that in the description. I'll find it and I'll link it. But I gotta agree with him. I've always had an issue with those titles. I never felt like they felt legitimate. They felt very childish. They felt like toys. There was nothing. And in this business that really lacks meaning, I mean, you're just making it even worse by having these titles there. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, these titles already lack meaning because your division is so lackluster, and it's not anything to do with your superstars because you have talented guys. You're just not using them. You're not utilizing their talents. I mean, you could have a stacked... I mean, they constantly talk about, we want to revamp our tag team division. Well, why aren't you? You have talented guys on your roster. I mean, you could easily have a huge tag team division right now, but you don't. I mean, there are plenty of guys right now over in NXT who are extremely talented, who could easily come up. I mean, you have Enzo and Big Cass, I think, is two of the most charismatic guys I've seen in a long time. Kind of remind me of and I know a lot of people share the sentiment, they remind me of the New Age Outlaws. They had that same banter. You have Big Cass is like Billy Gunn. He doesn't say a whole lot, but when, he's got that energy, that aggressive type energy. And then you have, Enzo, who's a lot like Road Dogg, who's got I mean, charisma coming out of everywhere. I mean, this guy holds your attention. He's funny. You just love the guy. You can't help but loving the guy because he's fantastic. And these guys aren't terrible. They're solid in the ring. I mean, obviously, I think that their mic work makes up for what they lack in the ring. But, I mean, Paul Heyman said it the best. You have to sometimes, I mean, not everybody's, I mean, it's very rare to find a guy who is both talented on the mic and in the ring, or is equally as good on the mic as he is in the ring. It's usually going to be one or the other, so you need to use whatever your strength is to help almost cover up your flaws. So if you're fantastic on the mic, then you use that mic ability to almost cover up your flaws in the ring. If you're fantastic in the ring, then you use your ring work to cover up your flaws on the mic. And I think the two best examples of that would be Daniel Bryan and brace yourself because I know a lot of people are going to start jumping out their windows when I say this, but CM Punk. Who? The guy, the Walking Dead enthusiast, wrote a comic book once, Phil Brooks. You know him? Yeah. I don't know why people get so uptight when you mention his name. Oh my God. Come on, get over yourselves. CM Punk, I don't think he was terrible in the ring, but I think he was far better on the mic, and I think he used his mic ability to kind of hide the fact that he wasn't as good in the mic or in the ring as he was on the mic. You look at a Daniel Bryan, obviously not that great on the mic in comparison to his in-ring, but he used his in-ring to cover up, his flaws on the mic. And they both did it seamlessly. They were both champions. They did it flawlessly. And it's very important. And I think Enzo and Big Cass, they both do that beautifully. So you have these guys who are able to do that. You have plenty of guys in your division right now that could make up a great division, but you're not doing anything. You're just letting them sit there, and you're wondering why nothing's happening, and then you blame your superstars, or it must be the gimmick, or the fans don't know what they're talking about. It's the fans' fault. No, it's your fault because you're not utilizing them. You're not booking them properly. I mean, the gimmick, it goes back to an interview that Xavier Woods had with Jericho, where he said that their gimmick for the New Day was the way that he perceived it, where three guys fed up with what they were being given, wanted more, and they were going to get it any way they had to. And for some reason, Vince didn't like the idea. He drops the idea, tells him this is what we're going to do, and says it's going to be a preacher-type gimmick. All three of them were pissed. They couldn't understand it. You got to be kidding me. This is not what we want to do. The only one who wasn't too upset was Big E, and Big E saw an opportunity and said, you know what? May not be what we want, but he knew, and he knows, obviously, the crowd better than, obviously, Vince does, because if Vince knew what the fans wanted, there'd be no question to be successful. But Big E knew that if we were so over the top with our gimmick, that the fans would eventually boo them, and they would become heels anyway. Vince wanted them baby faces. They wanted to be heels, and they did the job exactly the way Vince wanted them to do it, but they knew in their minds that they were going to be heels at the end of the day because they knew how the fans would react. Fans aren't going to like this over-the-top garbage. They're going to start booing us, and we're going to become heels. And that's what happened. Vince threw a tantrum, apparently, according to Xavier, and he was pissed off. He couldn't understand why it didn't work. How out of touch do you have to be when your own superstars know the business better than you do? If that's time to I know he doesn't want to give up and let go. He has to, for the sake of his company. He's got it in a death grip, and it's dying. He needs to let it go. I'm getting off topic, but, it just, I am, but I'm not. It just goes to show that these superstars are capable of doing a whole hell of a lot. It's just that WWE does not give them any breathing room. And then you go on top of that and you throw in these titles that are just bland. They're gross. He's right. Bronze and copper does not say champion. That doesn't, bronze is like, you give somebody bronze for pretty much showing up. When you go to the Olympics, the guys that get bronze, you showed up to the Olympics. Here, I'll give you a bronze medal. Good job. You get a bronze medal for participation. Like, that doesn't scream champion. Gold screams champion. That's why I'm not a huge fan of the WWE Championship. It should be gold. And like he said, that you can get away with championship silver. They have in the past, and it's not terrible. But gold screams champion. Not copper, not bronze. That's why I also wasn't a huge fan of the World Heavyweight Championship, because it was more of a bronze than a gold. I guess it was gold, but when I think gold, I think, the original WWF Championship. I do like, and this is me, I do like the current Intercontinental Championship. I think it looks slick. I like the design. I like the white leather. I think it looks really nice. And I believe that might be silver, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to pretend like I know what I'm talking about, and then while I continue to talk to you guys, I'm going to secretly Google it, and then seamlessly come back like I didn't just Google it, and pretend like that never happened, and you're going to think I knew about what... You're going to think I knew this the entire time. It's going to be so seamless. Just wait for it. Wait for the seamlessness. It's going to be beautiful. I'll teach you guys a thing or two. Intercontinental Championship 2015. Can you guys hear that typing? Oh, it is actually gold. Oh, no wonder I like it. The Intercontinental Championship is actually gold. Seamless, see? You have no idea. I just Googled it. You no idea. The power of radio. It's gold with the white trim. I love it. It looks like a title. It looks like a championship. It looks like a champion should wear it. The current WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I'm not typing or anything. I just want to be accurate with what I'm saying. I don't want to be one of those guys on their podcast that just says a bunch of nonsense. I mean, it does have some gold. I know what it looks like, but I just wanted to get a picture up in front of me so I can. I mean, it's gold. It's got gold trim, but the background is black. It just doesn't feel like a title to me. I mean, you can see the leather. I'm not a huge fan of it. I think the bling, that always threw me off. This studded WWE logo. I never cared for it. I didn't like it in the spinner belt. At least the spinner belt was mostly gold. I'll give them that. But not a huge fan of any of that. I'm a classic kind of guy. I'm not a fan of the gaudy titles, and I know that's just my opinion, but I'm not a fan of it. I mean, I want something that looks legitimate. They want this to be reality. See, they really push this reality-based nonsense, but I don't think that's actually what they want, because if they did, these titles wouldn't look like that, because that's not realistic. The penny tag team championship bullshit, that's not realistic. You think Dana White and the UFC would have those? No. You think they would have that in boxing? You think maybe Floyd Mayweather would, but you think they would have that in boxing? No. I mean, you look at all the belts in boxing, and you look at all them. They have gold on them. There's leather, but they're gold. They look nice. You know that they mean something. I mean, you have the WBC title that's green, but it has gold on it, and it also goes back to it has. I mean, it's gold, plain and simple. It's gold, and when you have it, it looks so nice. You look at the belt and you're just like, whoa, that's a champion would wear that belt. You look at the UFC belts, a champion would wear that belt. You look at the tag team championship and you're just like, did you get that at Kmart? I mean, there's nothing about him that screams champion. The US championship, for me, it's kind of always been the same thing, because I feel like it's kind of, I mean, I know it's the US flag, but I mean, I understand, but I think they could make it look nicer. I think it just looks almost too cartoony, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but for me, it's always been kind of, I mean, you have gold in there, but it's not a terrible design, but I'm a fan of the classic, the US spinner belt. That was a joke. That belt was awful. That's just my opinion. I hated that belt. But I don't know. I like the classic. See if I can pull up a picture of it. Yeah, even the NWA US World Heavyweight Championship, the one they had years ago. That one is fantastic. I think that served its purpose. The United States, and it felt like a title. The ones they have today, they feel like toys. They don't feel like a championship belt, and that's a part of not being able to take them seriously. I think Stone Cold hit it right on the nose. It's saying that gold means champion. That's just how it's always been. Every other product, whether it be boxing, UFC, martial arts competitions, I mean, the Olympics. The winner of the Olympics gets gold, not bronze or copper. What kind of nonsense would that be? Here comes Michael Phelps, the winner of the 2016 Olympics. That's not even going to happen, but he has placed copper. What? And it looks like he is wearing a giant penny around his neck. Nobody would take him seriously. They'd be like, "Oh, you were in the Olympics? What'd you win?" Copper. Wow, you must be terrible. You should see the other guy. He won aluminum. Awful. Copper's terrible. Looks terrible. Bronze is awful. Bronze looks terrible. So I think gold is the way to go. That's one way you can really help to legitimize these titles. I agree with Stone Cold. I think he was perfectly on the money. So get gold or go home. And because nobody can take them seriously. I mean, you can make them established a little bit, but the U.S. Championship will always. I mean, just go look at the U.S. Championship now and the NWA, and not NWA Straight Outta Compton, the NWA U.S. Championship, which Straight Outta Compton was a pretty damn good movie, by the way. I recommend it. 2 thumbs up. That has nothing to do with wrestling, but I saw it the other day. Pretty damn awesome. But go look at the NWA U.S. Championship and the current U.S. Championship, and tell me that if you think the recent one looks better, then I don't know what to tell you. But to me, the NWA title blows it out of the water because it feels legitimate. The other one feels like a toy. Feels like a kid would make that. This feels like a champion would wear it. And same thing with the Divas title. That's just awful. A butterfly? Really? You're trying to legitimize that division and you're going to give them a butterfly? That is just ridiculous. Women's Championship was so much better. Still, I think that was bronze, actually, though. I'm not going to Google that or anything, don't worry. I lied, I am. Because now I'm curious. Running into overtime. So we shall see. Running into overtime, let's try to do this quickly. That is not what I was looking for. What the? Somehow I got like jeans by typing in. Oh, I didn't type it in right. That explains why I didn't get what I was looking for. Look for the women's title. No, it was kind of a gold, I guess. A weird gold. It's kind of like a fake looking gold. Didn't really look real, but they kind of had gold too. So gold is the way to go. Run into overtime. I don't want to hold you guys up. 18 minutes is a long ass podcast. So I'm gonna cut it off right here, which means you know what time it is. It's time to like, share, and subscribe to The Breaking Point. It's time to make sure that you meet me back here tomorrow morning, same time, same place. And as always, consider the point broken.